this is probably one of my toughest videos I've ever had to make. Genuinely, right now making this prediction, trying to get it right, I have gone back and forth on these predictions for about 3 to 4 days. And I don't even feel confident in these. Because these next 2 weeks, tomorrow, I'm recording this on Friday, I'm going to try to get this out as soon as possible. Because it's going to be a quick video. Because I'm just going to get it out there. I'm going to either react or make a part 2 of this, seeing how wrong I was. Because college football has been insanity this year. And I'll explain why I'm struggling so hard to make these predictions, right? Because it's easy until you start thinking about what could happen, right? And so my prediction right now, I think Georgia beats Bama. And so they're going to take number 1. I think they beat Bama in the SEC championship like 45 to, 35, something like that, right? I think it'll be a close-ish game, but I think Georgia's defensive line is so good and Alabama is struggling too much on the offensive line. Bryce Young will get them close, but not close enough to beat Georgia. They have played such good football. I think that Arkansas is kind of a benchmark to show the difference between the two because they both played at home. Arkansas gave Alabama a lot of troubles. I think Arkansas wasn't ready for the Georgia game, but Georgia is so dominant. I think Stetson Bennett is vastly underrated. He's improved so much from last year to now. They potentially, I think, might get George Pickens back, which is a huge, huge deal. I think Alabama could keep it close. And honestly, I don't even feel confident picking Georgia, but I'm going to go with my gut and say this is the year for Atlanta sports, other than the Falcons. And I think Georgia wins it, and they're the number 1 seed. At number 2, I think Ohio State wins the Big Ten. It's probably going to be wrong. I think Michigan can keep it really close. I think Michigan could be in this top 4. And I put them in my top 4 in my original prediction because I do think Ohio State had the perfect matchup to exploit Michigan State, and they did, because Michigan State, if you stop their running game, and they have a terrible cornerback and safety room. And what is Ohio State's strengths? I butchered that, but their strengths are wide receiver, and they're able to stop the run relatively well. Other than Minnesota and probably a couple other games, but their defensive line is getting really, really good really fast. I think it will be a closer game than previous years. I think John Harbaugh has done a fantastic job. And I think Aiden Hutchinson could feast on CJ Stroud, but I think the Ohio State team has so much momentum with them. I think they lock down that 2nd seed in a close battle, and I think they win the Big Ten. If they beat Michigan, I think they beat Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship easily. Wisconsin still has a 1960s offense. They have great defense, but a 1960s offense. I think it's not close on the Big Ten championship, right? Then number 3. I am sticking with Cincinnati getting the 3rd spot, right? I want this to happen. This is my prediction because I'm a manifest it to happen, right? Because there's a gut feeling that if Cincinnati got put at 4, they're going to get the TCU treatment. Because if you take Cincinnati out of this top 4, things get way easier to predict. But I want to manifest the Battle of Ohio to happen. I don't want Cincinnati to get a rematch against Georgia. I might be the only one who wants that. But I want Ohio State to go against Cincinnati because I think Cincinnati could beat them. I think Cincinnati has good enough defense and good enough offense on a neutral field that I think Cincinnati could win the Battle of Ohio and go to the national championship. I want it to happen, so I'm going to manifest it to happen. But there's a gut feeling, there's a little voice in the back of my head that the committee put them at 4 and it's going to be very quick to take them out. I would love to see the votes between a 2-loss close Alabama team versus a 4-seed undefeated, barely beats Houston Cincinnati team. I would love to see the votes on that because there's something telling me that they're only going to get up to 4, and I don't think they could get up to 3. But I want them to get to 3 because I think they deserve it, and I think they would make a better game against Ohio State. And then because I put myself in this position, I think the 4th spot is so hard to decipher. And the teams that are in contention, you have Oklahoma State, Notre Dame, Alabama, and I don't think Michigan would be in it, right? Yeah, Michigan wouldn't be in it. They'd be a 2-loss team. Even though they've had some of the best losses in the nation, they wouldn't be in the contention for a 4th spot. I think one of the other teams. And I also have Oklahoma in there because Oklahoma, like, is a 1-loss team, so they have a chance, right? Because if they beat Oklahoma State, you then have a top 10 win, and then you beat Baylor again. I think Baylor would be in the championship. Then you beat Baylor again. You beat the team that beat you. They would have to be in. I would almost see them taking the 3rd spot with that. But I don't know if they can turn it around with all the rumors going around with Lincoln Riley and the LSU momentum kind of building. I believe in Caleb Williams. I think he's probably one of the most fascinating players I've seen in college football in a while, and I'm a huge Superman fan. Like, go Caleb Williams. Like, I love watching him play. He's made a lot of freshman mistakes, but he has had some fantastic throws and moments. And I wanted to put Oklahoma at 4 because there's something every time I trust Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy and team, they just can't ever beat Oklahoma. And then if Oklahoma beats them, they have the momentum. I don't think Baylor could beat Oklahoma twice. And at that point, you put Notre Dame in, and that's the cop-out answer. And I don't want to put Notre Dame in because I don't think they're a good enough team to be the top 4. They kind of get there by default, and their only loss being against a top 4 team in the playoff. And I think they would get beat 59-0 by Georgia, right? Because as much as I'm making a prediction, if I were to try to be logical about this, it wouldn't be that fun. I want to see what I would get the most excited for, and if I'm right, I will be so happy about it. And I literally have it written down: Oklahoma State or Notre Dame or Oklahoma. I'm going to make the bold prediction because the committee loves Oklahoma so much. I think Oklahoma will get the 4th spot, pushing Notre Dame to probably 5. And then I would have probably Alabama at 6, Michigan at 7. And that's as far as I'll go. That's all I care about, right? Because then I think you would want to have like a Michigan versus Ole Miss bowl game would be really cool. Alabama versus Notre Dame would be cool. I think Alabama, like whoever you face in the New York Six Bowl, I feel bad for because I feel like Alabama is going to be angry that they missed the playoff, God forbid, and they are going to pummel whoever they face. Because really after that, you have Oregon who's not going to get in. I'm looking at the list right now. Like it can go so many different ways because what happens if Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma, loses to Baylor, which could happen. Baylor is such a good team. I think on a neutral field or even away, Baylor has a chance in any of these games. I was so impressed watching them, and that defense is fantastic. They have one of the best safeties to probably get. I think Jalen Petrie. He's fantastic to watch, and their running back is so much fun to watch. But there's something in the back of my mind that's saying Oklahoma somehow shuts off the noise. I don't think Lincoln Riley leaves. I know there's a lot of momentum for it, but I don't know why he would leave to an SEC program that his school is going to be an SEC program as well. I would love for Oklahoma State to get in. I think they would get blown their doors off by Georgia. And I think they could, honestly, if they won both of these games, they would hop Cincinnati. And then I think they would get their doors blown off by Ohio State because they run such a man coverage. And gosh, if you want to go watch Fire, Ice, and Earth, I think it was those 3 wide receivers for Ohio State are ridiculous. And I think, honestly, a lot of people's dream matchup is Ohio State, Georgia. I would love to watch that. I think Ohio State could actually win that. I had Ohio State potentially as my national champion. But let's stick with my 4. Let's stick with my 4 that I have, and I'm a put it. They've already been on the screen, but I'm going Georgia, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Oklahoma. I'm going to get roasted for this because I'm going to be completely wrong, and I'm telling y'all now, I'm not taking these super serious. I'm not taking the most logical. This isn't betting. This is not betting advice. I would have, in a really blowout game, I think Georgia would blow the doors off of Oklahoma. Honestly, I think Oklahoma State would have maybe a better chance. But I think Oklahoma loses, and as they always do, and Lincoln Riley leaves for LSU. That's a prediction, right? And then I have in a close game of the year, Ohio State, Cincy. Ohio State pulls out, and I have Ohio State taking down the Dragon and beating Georgia. Trayvon Henderson goes off for 150 yards. They call him the next Zeke Elliott. I'm not a huge Ohio State fan, but that is my prediction going into rivalry week and conference championships. I couldn't do one before the season, but it would have been way off. It would have been like A&M at 4, Clemson at 2, because we thought Clemson would have been good. But I like doing them right before the big time games, the game changer games. And right now I feel like is the perfect time just because there's so much that could change. I mean, like if Oklahoma State goes 1-1, then Notre Dame is in. If Oklahoma goes 2-2, I almost think you would probably, with the top 10 wins that they have, you'd put them over Notre Dame. And if they beat Baylor, the team that beat them, then for the championship, almost like when Texas beat them that one year and they beat Texas in the Big 12 championship, you would have to put them over Notre Dame. Notre Dame's fate isn't in their hands right now because they're not in a conference. They won't be a conference champion, and their only loss is in the top 4, but they don't have a top 10 win. I don't believe they do. And they haven't looked super impressive. They've looked good, but they haven't looked super impressive. And I think the other one that's in contention, Michigan could be Ohio State. They could catch Ohio State off guard. And if that's the case, I am all for it. Michigan, I'm probably rooting for Michigan the most. And even though I just picked Ohio State to win the national championship, I want chaos. I want craziness. Make Cincinnati the number 2 team. I don't care. I want chaos. But that is my final predictions. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. I love doing college football content. I love doing NFL content. I love doing NBA content. But right now it's in the grit, in the peak of football content. I'm trying to get more NBA stuff out. But thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching this, thank you so much. And have a great, wonderful day. Thank you so much.